Good morning. Welcome back to the channel Awesome Learning. Today we are going to start with a new lesson, biological classification. So as the name suggests that we are going to classify the organisms, and because there are organisms, because it's biology, so we will be doing the classification on the various types of organisms. So here basically in this chapter we are going to study how the classification was done, why the classification was done, who did it. So these are all the basic things that we are going to do in this chapter. So the first one is Aristotle's classification. Aristotle was the earliest to attempt the classification. He was the one who started it. He was the one who wanted to classify the organisms. So this was Aristotle, and he made an attempt to classify the organisms on on few bases. And the things and the basis that he used was uh, here. What he did is he classified plants into trees, shrubs, and herbs. And he classified animals into two groups. One was red blood and the other one without red blood. So these were the basis of classification, because for classifying anything, if you want to classify few things, you need to consider some point, you need to consider some basis. Suppose you want to classify students into various groups, so what will be the basic point on that you will consider? Either you will consider it to be male or female students, you will make a group of male students and a group of female students, or you will take classification, you will do classification on the basis of their academic performance, those who are A graders, those who are B grade, those who are under the grade C, or you will take a classification according to their height, according to their weight, whatever basis can be there. So Aristotle took the basis as he classified plants into trees, shrubs, and herbs, and animals into red blood and white, without red blood, rather, I should say. So animals red blood like mammals, lizards, birds, and fish, and no red blood are like hard bodies like insects, and soft bodies like they have shell on their bodies. So even they classified. If they have shell, that the example was shellfish, and if they do not have any shell, then it was jellyfish. So this was how animals were classified by Aristotle. Then children came the two kingdom system. Okay. Now this two kingdom system was given by Linnaeus in 1758. This system classified organisms into two groups. One was Plantae and the other was Animalia. Very easy. He divided organisms into two groups, kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia. So this was a two kingdom system. Now here in two kingdom system, why is not this system considered today? Because we know that today we follow five kingdom system. If you know that in the present era we follow five kingdom system. That means this two kingdom system was rejected. Now why was it rejected? There must be few drawbacks here. So let's see what are the drawbacks. First one was prokaryotes. You know what are prokaryotes? The animals which are unicellular, which do not have well-defined nucleus, they do not have membrane-bound organelles. So those are called prokaryotes. So those who were prokaryotes like bacteria, cyanobacteria, and the eukaryotes which have well-defined nucleus, which have all the organelles like fungi, mosses, ferns, gymnosperms, they were included under plants. That means both of them were considered under one category. Jabki they have lot of difference, you see. So what he did was he placed all the prokaryotes and all the eukaryotes under the same category called plants. So based on the presence of cell wall, because he said that because both of them have cell wall, so they will be placed under the same category, that is plants. but they are widely differing. I just gave you many differences now that prokaryotes have no membrane-bound organelles. They do not have well-defined nucleus, but eukaryotes have. So there were a lot of difference in prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Still, they were placed under the same category of plants. This was the first drawback. Second was it included unicellular and multicellular organisms in the same group, as I said, because prokaryotes and eukaryotes were placed under the same categories. So Chlamydomonas and Spirogyra were placed under the algae. Now these is one is a filamentous. Spirogyra is filamentous. You see, it has filaments, but Chlamydomonas is unicellular. So how can we place both of them under the same category? Then it did not differentiate between heterotrophic fungi. Now, you know what are heterotrophic? Those who cannot make their own food but depend on others for their food. So, heterotrophic fungi and autotrophic, those who can make their own food, they were not differentiated. They were placed under the same category. How can we consider fungi and plants to be under the same category? One is heterotrophic, they cannot make their own food, but these can make their own food. So fungi has, and one more thing, fungi has cell wall which is made up of chitin, whereas plants have cell wall which is made up of cellulose. So there were quite considerable difference between fungi and plants, but still fungi and plants were kept under the same category. So this was a drawback. These were the drawbacks of two kingdom system. Okay.